Here is Huck in Missouri. He says hello first. Huck, welcome. How are you today, pal? What do you have for me?
Pretty good, Chris. Good talk. Been a couple of weeks, so I'm good to be back here and talking to my favorite little man on the radio.
Yeah, it's been a long time, Huck. Where the hell have you been? But it's good to have you with us. Let me hear your take today. Go ahead. Fire away.
You know, I was very into that Yawkey interview you did. That was great. I really enjoyed that. It really sounds to me that when Yawkey was a young man, he surrounded himself with some hateful men, racist type guys. And I think as he got a little bit older, I think he realized where he maybe made his mistakes and tried to make up for that. It's easy for me to say being a white man, but, it'd be nice to try to remember somebody for the good they done instead of maybe some of the mistakes.
I think the lady who wrote the letter into the Globe saying, don't we honor a guy who evolves in his career? I mean, if you could show me evidence that Reggie, Jim Rice, Pumpsy Green, all these guys can't stand him, and he treated him horrifically, I would feel differently. And I know that 10-year period there, he's got to take some responsibility, but I can't. And now the Jersey Street, the guy was a slave trade guy. I mean, now does John Henry know about that? See, again, you could do, if you want to go erase all these monuments and you want to change history, go right ahead. But, the first time you do it and you change these street names and you do this and you do that, everybody's got a skeleton in your closet. You might as well take everything down. Why don't we take Jefferson down? I mean, he had 65 kids, for crying out loud, with Sally Holmes. Take him the hell down. There's everybody, you could do it for anybody if you wanted to. Anybody. Go ahead.
Well, we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, and you're right. I mean, if we start trying to erase history, I think you're just opening up a can of worms. I really do. As far as the basketball, I have to admit, Chris, as far as the NBA, it has been a little bit more interesting down the stretch than I thought it would be. But it's just my opinion, and I don't mean to sound negative, but I'll believe it when I see it. I believe it's still going to be Cleveland. It's still going to be Golden State. I think it's more interesting than maybe I thought initially. But I'm going to have to see Toronto beat LeBron James in a big spot. I'm going to have to see Boston beat LeBron. And, I know Curry's a little banged up right now, but listen, I mean, Golden State could lose every game the rest of the season. As long as Curry's healthy by that second or third round, it's going to be Cleveland, Golden State, in my opinion. And, that's just me, but it could be a little bit more interesting, maybe more 6 and 7 game series in the playoffs instead of sweeps. But in the end, it's going to be LeBron. It's going to be Durant.
Listen, I think that's the way to bet. I completely agree. I would say Cleveland a little more vulnerable than the Warriors. It's a much harder conference in the West, and Houston's going to have top seed. But Cleveland's been spotty all year, so I would think Cleveland a little more vulnerable in the West, in the East than the West, despite the fact the West has got much better teams. So I would say Golden State, they should beat Portland in the second round. They're going to win their first round series, and then it comes down to them in Houston. I mean, Cleveland's going to not have home court in 2 series in a row, and they have been a mess for a long period of time, so we'll see. Steve is in Rhode Island, and he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Steve, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hey, Doggy. How you doing?
Steven, nice to talk to you. What's on your mind now?
Good to talk to you. Let me tell you, I'm a 48-year-old liberal, big Red Sox fan, and this whole thing with Yawkey, this has driven me nuts. This came up last fall when statures were coming down and, all over the place. And John Henry decided the wind was blowing in the right direction, and he was going to set sail.
Yep.
And then he had a comment saying that he was haunted by the name of that
That's
street.
Absurd. Haunted.
He's
That's
had
absurd.
that team for 15 years, dog. I've never heard him say one word. I know everything that goes on with that ball club. And here's the other part.
Is he haunted? Is he haunted by the Jimmy Fund? And is he haunted by the fact that is he haunted by the fact that Yawkey saved his ballpark for him about 9 million times, rebuilding Fenway Park in the 30s after fires? Is he haunted by that?
Right, exactly. And I'm sure he's haunted with his billions of dollars that he sleeps on every night.
I like Henry, but I can't take that either. I'm with you 100%.
Right, and here's where he's a phony, Doggy. If you go on the Boston Red Sox website, there are 17 people under him who are considered executives. Not one of them is an African American. Not one. There is one person, maybe two, that are of Hispanic descent. There are no African Americans executives for the Boston Red Sox.
Well,
okay?
He's got a minority as a manager. I'm not going to get upset about Henry's hiring practices. I think his heart's in the right place, but I think he's trying to be on the right side of the pendulum here with the whole thing with the Red Sox. Right side of the pendulum. I mean, the guy's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, $500 million to charity, almost $1 billion to charity. $1 billion. You think? I don't think Henry's donating $1 billion to charity. I'd be shocked. I mean, I'm not saying Henry doesn't give a couple of dollars here and there, but I don't think John Henry has given $1 billion to charity. And I like the idea that the original name of the street, Jersey, he might be a slave. He might be a guy who played the slave trade game. How about that for a second? Jeez. Here is Max in Memphis, and he's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Max, it's your turn. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Doggy, you open with Petty this break. Sounds like the refugee boat's getting pretty full.
Yeah, the refugee boat. I mean, from what I can gather, a lot of them have flown over to ESPN. So we got to get the refugees off the ESPN. It looks like they may have tried ESPN. I don't know why, but we need to get the refugees back on our side. But I'll tell you right now, the East River's been crowded. Let's put it that way. You may continue.
Doggy, listen,
yes.
I don't need John Henry earning points with this maneuver, because when does it stop? Like you said, because. All right, we all know Yawkey's a racist.
No. We don't know Yawkey's a racist. We know that he had racist.
We do. We be fair.
No, he's not a racist. He had guys who work for him. He had guys who work for him as a racist.
If John Henry wants to show me something, do you know what the Red Sox are named after? A Virginia Negro League team from the 1880s. So change the name of your team. Call them the Boston Pumpsies. You want to put some skin in the game. When does it stop, John?
Well, he's not going to do that, Max, because it's a financial situation. Not going to change the name, just like the Redskins aren't changing their name. It's not happening. Too much money's involved. Nobody's changing anybody's names. I can tell you that now. Now, I don't believe Yawkey, to me, if his guilt is his association with and his drinking buddies who ran the team. That is his guilt. And the buck did stop with him. He should have done something about it. No argument. But I do not think that Yawkey is a racist myself. Now, again, he did nothing about people under him who had some racist tendencies, including that Pinky Huggins, and he deserves grief for that. But as far as down deep him, I don't think he's a racist. Here is Chris in Riverdale, and that's in the Bronx, and he says hello, and he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Chris, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Hey, Chris, good. I tell you, I was listening last week when you were speaking with the gentleman who was a physician at the draft about Mark Collins, and then this story here with you in the book with Yawkey. I love the stories. That's why I listen in. Great stories. I agree with you, Chris. You can't change history. You can learn from it. I like to see it stay the same. I'm a big Yankee fan, so I'm biased, but I've never been to Boston. And you got to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. He did a lot of charity, like you said. I also believe people can change for the positive. He's not here to defend himself. And, you spoke to a bunch of people that, the gentleman who was speaking, a lot of people didn't have a problem with him, that knew him and were around him, that were black. So I would just like to see this, stay the same. And again, we can learn from the past. We don't have to change it. You can't change history. Might as well just leave it, the way it was.
And Tommy Harper has got a lot to say, and he found some Elks clubs there in Winter Haven that didn't allow black Red Sox players to visit. That's wrong, too. So there are issues there. I think Yawkey just was, he was too loyal to some people in his organization who were bad guys from a racial standpoint. Very bad guys, and he should have gotten rid of them, and he didn't. So he's got to take the hit for that, and I'm not disputing there. Hayden in Virginia, let's hear his thoughts on the Jets quickly. Hayden, good afternoon. How are you today, pal?
Dog, I've been saying this since last April that McCagnon had to make this move up. Eventually you got to pick your quarterback, and I find it hard to believe that he went to number 3 without knowing that his guy's going to be there. I don't think he's got 3 guys just praying that one of them is going to come. He knows exactly who's going to be there. And he's going to get his guy.
Well, he can't know exactly. He doesn't know exactly what the Browns or Giants are going to do. I think what it comes down to is simply the fact, Hayden, that he could live with any of the quarterbacks that fall in his lap. I think he's okay with any of the QBs that fall into his lap, and he probably, he knows he's going to have between Rosen, Donald, and Allen. He knows he's going to get one of the three, and I think he feels he can get. I think he feels comfortable with any of the three guys. Go ahead.
I think you're wrong. I think he's a little more confident he's going to get exactly the guy he got. I think he knows what the Giants. I think the Giants. I think kind of tilted their hand a little bit to him in the talks, the private talks, and I think he's comfortable with exactly where he's at. But Doug, number two is this: you did a great job with Krzyzewski. I'm not going to kill you.
Hello. Now we lost Hayden. He was getting into Krzyzewski, so he wanted to get into that. We lost Hayden. Is Steve going to come into the building, or is Steve taking a... Oh, there he is. Steve has decided to show up and say hello. He's had a nice, easy day with Cannell, a couple of hours, work on the trips to Colorado and work on Luke's baseball and all those kinds of things, but he has popped in, going to put his headset on.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Well, I'm sure, Steve.
Sorry I was late. I went and forgot your jacket, so I thought it'd be nice to bring it down.
I appreciate that. Are we going to Wendy's tomorrow night? Where's the story?
Well, I thought Wendy's would be a good idea.
I thought that was funny at 3 o'clock. Did you hear it?
I did. It was very funny.
So we go to Wendy's? You're gonna?
I think it's good. They always say that what's with these headsets? Jeez, sound terrible.
Do we have a chance? Can I order what I want, or am I on a per diem restriction?
Oh, no. You anything you want.
I can get one of those ice cream floats that are pretty good.
You can get
Frosties, whatever they're called.
Frosted double cheeseburger, fries if you'd like.
I can.
It's everything, anything you desire, my friend.
Very good. So I can have that. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So Wendy's, is there a Wendy's on the west side?
Well, if there isn't, we'll find something better. How's that?
Okay. Very good. That's what I'm looking forward to. Are you staying in the city tomorrow night?
I am. Yeah.
Oh, you have? Oh, you already made that decision?
Yeah.
What's the latest with the storm?
I don't think it's going to be good. I mean, it's we'll get here with no problem tomorrow.
Limited train schedule in the morning, though.
Already, yeah, which is a problem.
Wow.
That stinks. I mean, right off the bat.
You can't go through these trains.
Can you wait till noon at least?
Here's the Sports Fight with Stevie on Mad Dog Unleashed.
Mad Dog Sports Radio.